Premier League fans, settle on into this episode here between the posts where we're actually talking transfer window. The January transfer window has come and closed, and Matt and I are going to recap it all for you. How's it going, Matt?
It's going well. Yeah, love when the window kind of shuts and you can see the different squads and what they can bring to the second half of the season. This is probably one of the more important January transfer windows when you think about it because there's so many games left this season too.
Yeah, with some of the cancellations and what have you, not at a true halfway point. Arsenal game in hand. There are other clubs that have game in hands as we turn and through the January transfer window. Again, we're going to pull up. I'll use the screen share, so if you haven't seen all the moves, just like I haven't, and Matt hasn't, of all 20 Premier League clubs, we'll show them up on screen, work our way through it alphabetical order. So we'll just take them how they come. Let's jump on in there now. Get up the first game or the first team here, Bournemouth. Bournemouth is what we've got right here. All right, Matt, you've got it there on your screen, my screen, everybody's screen. Nothing stands out.
Utara. I mean, they paid a good amount of money for him. He's a nice attacking piece that they've needed. He's got a lot of pace. I watched some clips of him. A guy that they hope that can come in and score some goals. I mean, that's they paid a good amount of money for him. So I mean, that's someone to really focus on too. And then one other one is a guy that I've definitely watched a few times, and every time he's caught my eye is Traore of Sassuolo, not Adama Traore, but there's many Traores across Europe.
Yeah.
And this kid, he's really small. He's very quick. And I think, it says loan. I think it's probably a loan to buy options. Some of these loans, for example, it's just like for the finances, like you'll see when we get to like
Right.
Leeds and Weston McKinney,
Mm-hmm.
that's a loan, but that will be one that more than likely ends up in a full buy.
Right.
So yeah, a couple attacking pieces. They know that they've struggled this season. I think we could both agree. Sometimes their defense has been okay,
Yeah.
but their front line, they need a little bit more venom up top, and I think that's why they went and addressed that a little bit.
Yeah, that's good because we talked about them. They've taken the least amount of shots in the Premier League, so they got to start getting something in offense if they want to go ahead, avoid the relegation. So, and obviously in the January transfer when you see a lot of loans, right? Clubs figure out who their squad French players are and loan them out for a minute. So you see that throughout all their exits. Loan, 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 loan. All right, let's
Yeah,
move over to Arsenal now. Obviously, they bring in Trossard from Brighton. Love that move right there. Great squad piece. It doesn't come into their starting 11. They're still going to run Martinelli and Saka, and Nkete or Jesus, whoever's healthy at that time. So doesn't come into the starting 11, but love Trossard coming in over from Brighton. And then Jorginho, picking up on midfield. Thankfully we don't have to see Jorginho's run up anymore on penalty kicks because he's not going to be taking any penalty kicks for Arsenal. But I like it. For a team in first place. Not going to shake up the starting 11, but two good squad pieces. I like it.
yeah, I think that they did good business here in January. They had their targets and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't push too hard. They went back in for Caicedo a second time, but they didn't push it to a third time, and that makes sense because really, especially in January, it is kind of about learning to have some respect for
Mm-hmm.
these other clubs. If you continue to bug and poke and prod at Brighton for Caicedo, well, guess what? You're not going to have great relationships with them then in the summertime when you go back in.
Yeah.
So, and you see kind of, well, I can't wait till we get to Chelsea because I'm going to have something different.
Right.
But I think that what they did is so Jorginho, is a nice little piece that exactly. He's not going to start for them most likely, but if somebody were to pick up a knock, he's a guy that's been in there and done this many times in this league. He knows this league well. Good
Yep.
passer. His movement, he's a little bit slow now, but still a nice little piece, I think. And that's just kind of sticking to their transfer policy. Arsenal have been really good the last two seasons, I'd say, where they have honed in under Arteta and this transfer policy. They're not over. They're not going to go and overspend. They're not going to, um, they're not going to break what they think their policy kind of is. So they
Yeah.
go and knew that they needed a midfield piece, is
Mm,
they loaned out Lakonga. If you look towards the bottom, Lakonga goes to Palace. He was a guy that they kind of hoped would be a little bit more, but he really hasn't ever picked up for them. But not to go break the bank. Go get a smart little signing. Go get Jorginho for a couple on like a 1.5 year deal type of thing, and just go spend, lock them down, and get that for 12, 13 mil. And same with Trossard, I mean, because
Trossard, yeah.
they needed a piece, for when Jesus is out still, you know what I mean. So they Nketiah has been brilliant, but just in case, and a guy that can sub in at the 70-minute mark, and a guy that's been in this league. And I think Trossard's always been a little bit too good for Brighton. In a sense, I think he's been their
Yes.
best player for a few seasons now, and he wants to see what he can do with some better players around him.
Yeah, he just jumps right in. Also with Jorginho, you get that champion, experience that he did gain, win trophies, his time at Chelsea. So yeah, I like it. And obviously, everybody they sent out is just on loans. Again, clubs just identifying who are the players that aren't getting minutes. And January heavy on the loans, and that's what you see on their out. So yeah, good business by Arsenal. They'll, certainly, you know, in first place, making that push for Premier League title, and then they'll add to it in the summer, whether they're in first place or still searching for that trophy. So yeah, I like what
Yeah.
Arsenal's doing over here to Aston Villa. Looks like Aaron Ramsey, he gets the loan recall. Traore, another one alone. Some other guys come in, so nothing there. Anything there for you on the in or the out?
Not really. I know that they did sign that Duran right there in your backyard, Jason, from the Chicago
Chicago
Fire. The
Fire,
kids, he's young. I mean, he's a piece for the future. But you really scroll down, you see the sale of Ings.
Ings is the one. Yep.
Um, you see it looks like the Bednarak loan recall back to Southampton. I'm assuming,
Yeah.
um, but
Oops, sorry.
um,
Not
yeah, not
much.
much
Not
here.
much.
Not much from Villa, really. I think that they're in a fine place. I think that getting Emery was the big deal. I think that kind of solidified them as staying in this league. Really, I don't think they're gonna have to worry too much about being in a relegation battle. I don't think. But
Yeah.
Alex Moreno, I did watch him on his debut. He came in at left back, and you just kind of you want to notate really that, look, Unai Emery, a guy that's been around the block,
Mm-hmm.
um, in the Spanish league. Well, what does he go do? He goes and sees a player that he's gone up against
Yep.
a few times at Real Betis, and Betis are one of those clubs, Jason, over the last
Just
2 seasons that you would say they've surprised in Europe. They've been that surprise type of team. They're like the Brentford of this year, the
maybe even the
Newcastle,
Brighton. I think they're a
surprise.
top six club this season.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
and
they're like a
they just
Brighton.
they're a club that has continued to blossom a little bit. So you go and you go snag one of those pieces,
Right.
and so um, and then immediately after, Aston Villa's fullback, who's their left-sided fullback again? He's good. It's Digne, Lucas Digne. He got injured.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Hurt his shoulder.
yeah, and so it kind of just immediately pays off right here, where you have this like for like sub. This guy gets in immediately off his debut. He did impress. He might have had an assist, I
Wow.
think. But yeah, Lucas Digne, shoulder injury.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't really given any more details on this as I look at premierinjuries.com, but still currently being assessed. His status right now is at 25%. So, like, he's not fully healthy. So, you would assume Alex Moreno probably gets the start this weekend.
Yeah, we watched that game. That was a Friday afternoon football match with Digne. He got hurt. It was in like the first 10 minutes of that match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was a
And
nice.
this kid came in and impressed.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Watch that. But yeah, now that you're reminding me of that. Yep. Good stuff right there. All right. So a couple good signings right there. Bring ins for the future, as you say. Brentford here, obviously, mid-ish table there in the Premier League, having a good season, no threat of relegation. No, so don't need to add or subtract to it. Seeing some loan recalls, loan recalls, loan recalls. No names popping out, but again, you're no threat of relegation. Just continue doing what you're doing at home, picking up points, picking up the occasional 3 points at home, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Anything there for
I
you? Yeah,
not really, not much to speak of here, but I don't think that they needed anything. I think
yeah,
that they're in a great place. I'm looking up this goalie that they signed. It's
Brighton.
Vincent Angelini. He's 19. He's really young. So that's, it's just Brentford are always a step ahead, though. So generally, you look at some of those names like an Angelini, and you might remember this name, next year. Where you're like, okay, they went and scooped him up for nothing, but they saw something that other teams didn't.
Yep. If you get Brighton here, obviously they lose Trossard. We talked about him going to Arsenal. Duffy to Fulham, but he was on loan there, so they just actually shored that up. He's no longer on
Mm-hmm.
loan. They've sold him to Fulham, but again, he was gone all season.
Yeah,
Aaron
not a
Cole,
ton
Mason.
here.
No.
The biggest piece for Brighton is I think that they got a fair fee for Trossard. I think that was a nice little piece of business for them. Trossard wanted out, and Brighton still collect a nice fee, about 30 million
30 million.
euros, right around that territory. And the big thing is Brighton here really sticking to their guns and not selling Caicedo, saying, "Look, you guys don't rate him as high as we do. We know that you guys rate him high, and they just picked up Caicedo for like
eight
pennies on
million,
the dollar.
right?
Not Yeah, and now they're looking to collect a fee of 100 million euros, and Arsenal want him, Liverpool want him, everybody wants him. This
Yeah.
dude's he's I really want him on Liverpool because this guy is like your modern day number 6. He
Yeah.
can run for days. Um, and yeah, he's just a solid player. He's able to showcase his talent too at the World Cup with Ecuador. I think that he played well there, and Ecuador as a whole played okay. Um, and and yeah, just but the fact is they were able to stick to their guns, Jason, and say, look, we value this person here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in the middle of the season. We're killing it right now. We're already kind of giving you out Trossard. Like, we're not going to give you the second piece right now. We're gonna see how we can do. Brighton, remember, they have Euro aspirations here. I mean, they could Brighton right now with this managerial change. He's been brilliant from Sassuolo. Um, they've got Europa League aspirations. They've got even Conference League aspirations. I mean, the fact if Brighton and Hove Albion get into the Conference League, like, that's cool for them. It just is. Like, that's something. When was the last time that Brighton and Hove were in Europe? That's a good one.
Never, but I always wonder if having never been in Europe, does it also like hurt a club? Then that following year having to compete in Europe, they don't have the resources. And then if they sell him, then they're not as good, and doing all these crazy flights, all parts of Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I don't
I mean, they're
know.
going to
I'm
cash
trying
in
to
on
find it.
him. Maybe they get triple digits, as you're saying in the summer. Maybe it touches triple digits, or 80 was the number obviously in the January window. So
Yeah.
they're gonna, you're probably going to lose McAllister. I'm actually surprised McAllister wasn't the one that let go. I mean, how somebody didn't come for him? I thought he was amazing at the World Cup, and Enzo Fernandez was there, and obviously he gets the big deal. But I thought McAllister, Fernandez, stood out, but so did McAllister.
I thought
McAllister,
that they
I thought he
equally.
was going to be gone for 60, 70 million this January transfer window, and I don't even know if people put bids in on him. That's a head
Yeah,
scratcher
no,
to
he was.
me.
There was some because I'm pretty good. Like, I keep tabs on all. I just first of all, I just love the business of soccer and stuff like that. I've always been fascinated with it since I found out that this is kind of how it works. It's different at really any other sport. There's nothing like this, and
Yeah,
I loved it because of it. And there was definitely some calls, I think, for McAllister right after the World Cup, but those things cooled. And yeah, to be able to hold on to Caicedo and McAllister,
to
and you get rid of a player that doesn't want to be there in Trossard, I'd say it's and you stick to your guns on the valuations of the guys. I'd say it was an A+ January window for Brighton and Hove.
Yeah, they can probably this summer make about 150 million, I would say, off of Saedo and McAllister combined. Probably
Yeah,
150.
yeah,
That'd be great. That'd be great for them. They can invest, say 50 million back in and get more of those bargain deals at around maybe 10, 12 million, and then they can
yep.
flip them. And if they can keep developing and flip it, woo, that's a dream right there.
I think I think that that's what they did. This Rosario
Yeah,
Central.
yeah,
I think that they paid a little bit for this kid. So, like, that's the other thing too. You want to pay attention to is you want to pay. I wish that this website did show the price,
the price. Yeah,
because that it's all about. I mean, it really is all about the price on some of these guys. This is a
yeah,
young. under
Which one are we
20
talking about?
U20 American Championship. He's 18. Valuation around 9 mil. He's 18 years old. You know, what I mean, that's the kind of business that Brighton has been just so good. He's an attacking midfielder,
Which one?
central mid, right. He's a left footer, and they've got a valuation here at about 10 million for an 18-year-old. That's really freaking solid to be valued at that 10 mil mark.
Which one were you talking about? Were you talking about
This guy from Rosario Central, so that's a
this guy?
Argentinian club.
Okay.
That's going in there, and if they wait, 6 months, then everybody's in on that kid, and everybody gets a shot at him. But they want to go and tie down the business now. I bet you will remember that name, Facundo. I bet you.
Okay. Love it. Love it. All right. Next one here. Let's go in alphabetical order. Doing the January transfer window recap here with Matt and I. After Brighton, we bring in Chelsea. Obviously, spending all the cash. We all have seen it. We've all seen it probably a tweet or so by now where Chelsea outspends all the other leagues combined. Your Bundesliga, your, Serie A, League One. Just add up all those leagues and it doesn't come, can't top the amount of money that Chelsea spent in this window. Work our way through it, Matt. Obviously, for myself, do I watch a lot of Molde games? No. I do know, they're always on the fringe of Europe, Europa League, Europa Conference League, but not watching them. But we'll see if Fofana can, turn out what he can be.
Yeah.
Same with
Yeah.
Monaco. But he's this defender here, though, he's already gotten in action. He's looked okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They made a ton of
Felix was
signings.
incredible in his first game. Up until that red card, he looked amazing. His turning, his dribbling, his spacing, passing. He looks great up until that red card. I think he's still got one more game. I don't think he's playing tomorrow against Fulham in the Friday afternoon game in the Premier League, and then I think his suspension is over, and then he's back. Mudryk, he's already gotten an appearance, but did you watch any Shakhtar matches? I hadn't.
Yeah, I watched a few. I've seen him. I saw him for Ukraine in the national team too. I mean, he does stick out. He's that like what do you want to call it? Like a pure blood, like blonde, this blonde. He's like he just sticks out like a sore thumb. Um, yeah, I mean
100 million,
they made a
100 million though. How crazy! Like, how does I saw? Did you send a tweet out where there was like the Julian Alvarez price and then the Modric price? Like
mhm.
his
Yeah,
his price
City
tag
got
was
a bargain.
crazy high.
Yeah, I was shocked just with the economy and stuff like that too. Like just how world football's been the last couple years. Some of these clubs have kept it more in their pocket, and here comes this American owner, Todd Bowley or whatever. Like this guy is a complete loser. This guy has no clue what. I don't think he has any clue what he's doing. I really don't. Like I, what they've done, and then also I want to. My main point here is what they did to Ziyech.
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst type of business that you can ever do. They sent the wrong documents, Jason, 3 times to PSG, 3 times, and that denied the transfer of Hakim Ziyech to PSG. PSG comes out and says, "Look, we're probably never going to work with Chelsea ever again."
Yeah.
Those are the type of fuck ups, basically, you cannot have as a big club. Like you don't want to burn bridges like the other owners and how to do business in between clubs. You've seen Liverpool with Southampton over the years. You're kind of seeing Arsenal now, really pinching off of Brighton a little bit or wanting to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, this dude just like I don't know what kind of advice he was given. I mean, like they did need some refreshers. Like when you look at Benoit Badiashile, I mean, he's a new
Yep.
defender. He looks pretty athletic. He's solid. They paid a good fee for him. Um, then you look at Santos. I don't know a ton about, but I know that they paid a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they bought this the Gusto, that was a 15 million signing.
He
Maruuka, that's another like 15-20 million. So I mean they just went out and they must think that they need a whole transfer overhaul. I mean I do think that there are some pieces there that I don't like about Chelsea now. Like when I don't like I don't think that Pulisic really, I and that's it's hard to say. I think I like Pulisic obviously as an American. But I
Hmm.
don't think that he's good enough for Chelsea probably. And I hate saying that because I hate Chelsea,
Yeah.
but Chelsea are just such a big club. Um, who's the striker there from
This.
Germany? Uh, hmm?
Oh, okay.
Kai. I think that Kai has been really bad over the last like 12 months. I think that he's on the on they're looking at him. They're just looking at a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys. I'm seeing rumors that Liverpool are very interested in signing N'Golo Kante in the summertime for like a free. Mason Mount might even leave. Like so, there's just a big overhaul here with Chelsea. But the fact is, here we got to get down to Enzo Fernandez. Benfica signed him for 10 million euros in the summertime, Jason.
I know.
10 million euros. And he goes for 120 million. Can you imagine taking something and profiting 12 times your money in 6 months?
Jesus.
Doesn't happen very often. And, um, actually, some of that money did go to the Argentinian club
Hmm.
that he did come from. So, like, that's nice that they got about 25% of that, 120 million. But the fact is this guy barely even made the Argentinian national squad. He was a late kind of call
Right.
up for them, Jason,
Yeah.
and he wasn't starting on the first couple games for Argentina. But we saw how important he was down the stretch. He was key. He does a lot of things well, but still, I just think that the fee was ridiculous.
The fee was ridiculous, but also like McAllister, still feel like was just as good as he was throughout that entire World Cup. But that was also a turnaround when Alvarez replaced Martinez in the starting lineup in in Argentina. Obviously, had flipped the switch there and then went on the run. But yeah, Enzo Fernandez, all that money, that's still a complete head scratcher to me. The one there, also Maduke, you go ahead and look him up from PSV. Chelsea gets in this situation. They've kind of had a bad season mid-table because of all their injuries. Yet they bring this guy in. He's got an injury list as long as this screen share right here of things that
Yeah.
he's battled over his career. So that one I don't get. They say he's young potential, but some guys are just always hurt. We'll see how much game time he gets in and how much of a run he gets in. Don't be surprised if he gets hurt. Like I said, yeah, Mudryk, need to see him. Loving what Felix was doing. He comes off the suspension soon. Then we'll just trust him here with Fofana. We'll look to see him in action. We'll look to see him in
Hmm.
action. Then obviously they loan Gusto right back out to Lyon, so he's not actually a player
That's a
until
good.
the
That's a
summer.
good move.
People
Yeah.
are still talking about online. You see it in Kunku. Like, is that a deal or not? That's a deal. You rumored it was a deal,
Oh,
but it's not going to happen
yeah.
until the
It's done.
summer. And think about it. They could be adding on Kunku to this.
Yeah, it's a done deal on that. And Cuckoo,
Kuku.
he's gone in the second. Yeah, that's another addition.
Yeah.
God, they've got just. I just cannot believe like what they just spent on these guys in comparison. Like they spent more than what Liverpool have in the last like 5 years. Like to just like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Panning
It's
out
they're
there.
just trying to buy. They're trying to buy the top four right now, and like that's
They're not.
not the way that it.
I don't think it's going to happen this season. It's it either comes out where it's like it all hits or it's all zeros and they can't score because it's all disjointed. There's no chemistry. It looks like you're just trying to mush something together. It could
Mhm.
be bad, or they hit the ground running and just start rifling off 3 points because there are goal scorers and attacking players and every see.
Mm.
We'll see. All right, you want to move on to Palace? Palace
Yeah.
here
What else?
looks like only three in. We mentioned it
Yeah, not a lot
already
to
when
talk
we talked
about.
about Lukaku and Arsenal left. So
Hmm.
otherwise,
That's a nice move for them, though. Like, what I mean, you at least like you
yeah,
get this guy that one of the top, like, more upper echelon clubs liked, just 2 summers ago. He hasn't really done enough. Yeah, let's just bring him in on a loan and see what he is about. Maybe he's more than what Arsenal kind of thought he was. And I don't know. Let's look in this. Let's look into this. A Hamada
from
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart.
I
There you
know
go.
that um I know I saw something.
Midfielder.
Yeah, he's a midfielder. He's got some potential, this kid. He does have some potential. It's a
Yep.
shrewd little buy. He's 20 years old. He's French. He's
Mm-hmm.
uh he's been solid. So like that could they bought in they get these two athletic middies kind of in here and just didn't
Yeah.
didn't uh didn't overpay or anything. Just kind of If they work out, it's great. If not, then you didn't at least pay too much.
All right, moving on to Everton right here. Obviously, not much coming in, not much coming out. You do lose Anthony Gordon. That was actually pretty big, losing him to Newcastle. Probably their most creative player. You know, well, I think he went for 50 to 55 million for Newcastle too. So great price. Losing him stinks, but their biggest thing could be bringing in Sean Dice. Obviously, it's not even a player. It's bringing in Sean Dice, a manager that is completely comfortable in a relegation scrap. Kept Burnley
Mm-hmm.
up for 4 or 5 seasons. Eventually, dropped, but he'll be completely comfortable in this Everton and fighting for this relegation and clawing out 0-0. Maybe we get a goal on a set piece. Boring. That could be their biggest transfer is Sean Dice and staying up because they're in real trouble in the Premier League. Can't score, can't do anything.
Yeah, wild, absolutely wild that they do. They sign him so late basically in the window, Dyche, where like he doesn't even have any time to like say, "Hey, go buy this guy." Like there's nothing. They brought nothing in, um, which is just you feel for Dyche because that's classic because Burnley didn't never buy anyone for him.
Right.
And so here you go. You get the keys to this club that is an absolute free fall now, and I think that he's going to keep them competitive. I know I saw your tweet under 2.5s are on the docket. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, I think that they can cover some of the handicaps against some of the better clubs. Like even you
Mm-hmm.
wonder if they could get a managerial bounce, on Saturday morning against Arsenal. Like that. Can they hang with Arsenal and cover a spread? Like it probably won't be taking a dollar of mine, but I would lean just with Dyche because I do like him. I thought that what he did with Burnley, he worked magic.
Burnley year in
With
year out.
nothing. It's just wild. So like I don't know. I got to see what even their lineup is going to look like until I get involved with them. But yeah, losing Gordon, he wanted out. He stopped training. Get him out then. Collect your fee. He was always kind of ready to go, and it'll be interesting to see how good Anthony Gordon is and if he can really because he is pretty damn good. So we'll see what he's all about at Newcastle. But yeah, nothing other than that. They just take off all these loan recalls. Just put in Sean Dyche.
Yeah, we've got the Premier League match week obviously preview coming up right after this transfer window recap that we're doing. I've got a bet for that game, Arsenal Everton. I'm ready to go. I'm locked in. Locked in. I'll give you a bet for that match.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
can't wait to hear that one.
Fulham here, mid-table, no threat of relegation, so no need to do anything. Yeah,
Nothing there.
they obviously already had Duffy. Now that's just a full-on deal, and nothing really out. Leeds, obviously, let's talk about this one for a while. Obviously, the big one, the American
Okay.
coming over, which was
Yeah.
a fantastic player in that World Cup. He was so enjoyable to watch, setting guys up. Thought he was doing a good job of distributing everything out wide and keeping the ball movement quick. Thought he was one of their better players at the World Cup. So come right into another attacking team, and you add that quality. They should get an uptick, I would think, in goal scoring. They just need to not be so damn leaky. Not be so damn leaky.
Yeah, I think that Weston will help a little bit with some of the leakiness, just because like when you get a slightly upgraded midfield like that, then
Yeah.
it all starts from the midfield, and it helps out your defenders tremendously. He's definitely athletic.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of comments posts. Alexi Lawless is like Weston McKennie's too good for Leeds, and I think that is outrageous. That's an outrageous. It's a
Wow.
classic Alexi Lawless, just loser, like wanting click statement.
All right.
Because I actually think that like Leeds may be like too good for Weston McKennie. I don't think that Weston is like that good of a player. He's not. He's not as good as Tyler Adams is, in my opinion. Um, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what McKinney's all about because I think that the Italian league has been. Juventus never really rated him. He did start because a lot of their midfielders were kind of shit too, but like they've been looking to offload Weston McKennie for a long time now, probably a full year. And Juventus, they're in free fall. They need funds. We're going to find out. This one is one of those that we kind of mentioned earlier. It's a loan, but I already saw all the details of it. Basically, it's a full buy. As long as
Right.
Weston McKennie makes 10 appearances, that would so unless that they see Weston and he just comes in and sucks and they're like, look, we don't even want to play this kid then. Like there's no way that Weston McKennie, for the most part, 95%, he's not going back to Juventus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will be a Leeds player with the obligation to buy, or the option to buy, I guess. Or it's really more of an obligation, just as long as he makes the ten appearances for
Mm-hmm.
33 million euros. Is he worth 33 million euros? Maybe in today's market, he might be. We're going to find out a lot about him, but I love it just from a perspective of the Americans getting in there. Now we've got three midfielders on the same team, and
Right.
then I love Jesse Marsh.
Soon to
But
be
really,
coach.
the guy. What do you think about it, Jason? I guess just
No,
talk to me a little bit about
I like adding it to it. Should make
it.
them
Hmm.
stronger in attack. Should make them a little bit stronger. So they lose here. They lose this defender. He's apparently to the
Yeah,
MLS.
like
Klitsch. He was one of
yeah,
their
he's fine.
defenders.
Yeah, he's a midi. He's like a yeah,
Yeah.
CDM kind of guy. But I just do want to touch on the two. The biggest signing for them is Jorginho. They go and sign him. The first big Hoffenheim player signed since Roberto Firmino, guy that they paid more than McKennie for. He's about 40 million euros, I believe, this Jorginho. And he hasn't gotten a look yet. I
Mm-hmm.
think he did play a little bit in the last FA Cup match, which they won 4-1 or something. They did end up conceding, which is pretty classic.
Right.
But I think that this Max Vober of Salzburg, this kid's immediately come in. Okay, I just want to highlight this because look, where did Jesse Marsh come from before
Salzburg.
Leeds? He had some time at Leipzig, but he knows the Red Bull family, like that network is all connected. He knew that he needed some kind of defensive piece. He goes and gets Vober. I believe he's a left back. I think he's a left back. He's a fullback in some way, shape, or form, and he's solid. I've watched him. I've watched Leeds probably more than just about anybody in recent weeks. Um, and yeah, look, I mean, good age, 24. They go
Yeah.
and make at least the age. The age is so key. You know what I mean? They go and get Ganato that we talked about in the summertime, an 18-year-old. Now they're signing Weston, who's 24. They sign Wober, that's 24. Um, so yeah, and then Jorginho is young. He's like
Ooh,
21. So they're making the right signings. One thing that's a concern
I
is
like it.
they're gonna need Rudder in quickly because um, they don't want to get dragged into this relegation fight. But their best player all season, Jason, he just had ankle surgery in Rodrigo.
Mm-hmm.
He's out now until April 1st, just out of nowhere. I see
The
checking my
attacker.
Instagram. Boom. Yeah, yeah, Rodrigo. Yeah, he's got like 11 goals and like 7 assists or
Oh
something in all
wow.
comps this year. It's been solid.
Wow. I didn't. Man, I didn't see that. Did Flash score? It said he
Yeah,
was
season,
one to.
season flash.
He said one to back to possibly score. I gotta check into that. Hold on. Let's get a look real quick here.
Yeah, this would be a debut type of
Knee
angle.
injury. Boy, that is so new.
Yeah,
Knee injury.
it's not knee. It's an ankle. But yeah,
Yeah.
but still. Uh, but maybe getting into Jason like a little debut action. Rudder would be someone maybe interesting. I think this would be his Premier League debut coming up. I bet he starts at the weekend.
Rudder.
Hmm. I think he'll start.
All right. Debut goals. We love to see him here on the show. Leicester City taking on them. We got about 20 or so more minutes. Leicester did nothing.
Not a
Doesn't
lot.
look.
Yeah,
And guys
not a
that
ton.
left.
Let's
Ayu
see.
Perez, Mark Albrighton. Well, no big deals there.
Uh, Victor.
Liverpool, they didn't do anything, and this was to be expected if you watched Jurgen Klopp's press conference. Every time he was asked, he kept saying, nothing, nothing. We just need guys to be healthy. He's like, we'll be fine because if you sign players and then your guys come back healthy, he was like, then you don't have room for those guys to play. So Gakpo is the only one. Everything else is to be expected. Nothing. That's what Jurgen said.
Yeah, they're it was a disappointing window for sure. I mean, they need more, but you can tell that like Liverpool are ready to give out the bag in the summertime. Liverpool are going to spend more than they ever
Bellingham.
have. I think Liverpool will spend more than they ever have this summer.
They're going to get Jude Bellingham. Watch out. They're the ones that are going to land him, I believe.
But they need somebody else too. They're looking at Mateus Nunez from Wolves, and then they're looking at Caicedo as well. They're going to get 2 middies in the
Yeah.
summertime.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Nothing really much to say with Liverpool. Again, to be expected. Cody Gakpo, the only one. City, obviously. City. Everything wants to talk about Consuelo. Oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that, I was like, what? He's off to Byron? What happened? And then you see the training ground dust up apparently, and then you're gone like
Mm-hmm.
24 hours later. So all you gotta do is piss off Guardiola one time, and you're out. 24 hours later, that one, man, like right there with like Davies, where he goes at Bayern is like the best attacking fullback. Like he's amazing going forward. Everybody talks about that Champions League goal there with Holland, where he's like flying through the air and gets his boot on it and redirects that thing in. That's off a ridiculous pass, from Consuelo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still shocked about that one. They let him go, and
Yeah.
pretty much it's gone. Like it's going to buy it in the summer more than likely.
Yeah, that was a funky, just random, quick, boom, you're out.
Oh,
Cancelo, first start already in the German Cup yesterday,
gets an
has an
assist.
assist.
First goal.
I was looking through the comments. They're like, this cross would have never happened in the Prem. And I'm like, honestly, it might not have, but it was still a good ball. And yeah, that's gonna be a big miss. But you could see over the last month that Pep kept preferring that teenager.
Rico Lewis takes over takes over Consuelo's spot that quick.
Cancelo was not happy about it. And
No.
I think it's fair play. And you know what? It really strengthens Bayern, man. When we're talking about here in about 2 weeks, guess who just got injured?
Mbappe.
Mbappe, man. Mbappe versus, PSG versus Bayern. Bayern all of a sudden are looking really strong because Sadio, I assume, will be back. And God, dude,
They're gonna have
they're
Davis on one side and Consuelo on the other. Those are your two fullbacks.
honestly, that'd be a good market to look into. Bayern might be worth a look in the Champions League future market.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that's it from City. Otherwise, just stay the course. Hopefully, you can put some pressure on Arsenal. We all want a title race. Like I said, Arsenal's got the game in hand, 5 points and a game in hand. So at least make this thing a title race, even if Arsenal's going to win it. We've had some boring ones over the years. Some clubs, respective ones, being able to pull away. Let's get a good title race here, City. Manchester United, they're just one of those teams that gets like lucky that like when a player gets injured, like if Eriksen gets injured, if that game's like on February 1st, you don't bring in Sabitzer and you're screwed. But because it happens January 30th, they're able to then go into the deadline day and pick up Sabitzer from Bayern. I've always liked him at Leipzig and hated him when he moved to Bayern because I knew he wasn't going to play. He's not going to walk into a Bayern starting 11, so he was never getting the game time. And then, United's fortunate enough to pick him up, like I said, because the injury happens just before the window closes. He'll be fine. Everybody looks good next to Casemiro. Casemiro is one of the better CDMs in all of Europe. So, yeah, lucky right there. Then that Weghorst, the striker. You saw it, Matt, and I don't know about you, but I was watching the United game yesterday against Forest. As soon as Rashford and Martial came on, I live bet their money line at -115. It was a no-brainer. I was like, oh, Ten Hag's going for goals, putting on Rashford and Martial. They get 2 quick goals. Martial's the preferred starting number 9. He just can't stay healthy. Ideally, Weghorst is not getting all these starts. It should be Martial.
Yeah, Weghorst, you don't want to see him. He's one of those lone moves that if your team is in an absolute pinch and you need somebody that's after some injury stuff.
They've been in that pinch
Yeah.
with Martial. So
Yeah, I think that Sabitzer is a good move. Late in the window, to pull that off. Boom, quick loan,
love it.
nothing post. He's just going to be in here for half the season. Yeah, I think that was a good move. But yeah, other than that, not a ton here. I always love looking at Axel Tuanzebe getting loaned out for the 100th time
Right.
in the last 100 years. It's just he's a guy that I just remember. I always remember his name and stuff. And
Van Gaal gives him that shot, and then he's just a lone guy forever.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one here with Sabitzer, I actually, also, I don't know how much of a huge drop-off there is from Eriksen. I mean, me personally, we play along Casemiro, anybody that, is like the number 8, so to speak, is going to look good. I don't really rated Eriksson all that high, and Sabitzer is better defensively, and I think offers more long range shots. Maybe not his creativity, but
Yeah.
he picks it up in long range ability shooting. So
No, it's a
uh,
perfect move for them. It's
yeah,
there is a drop off from Erickson to Sabitzer, but it's like you're not dropping off a cliff. You're just going down one step.
yeah. All right, let's get Newcastle in here. It's 2:40. We got about 15 or so minutes. Obviously, they get Anthony Gordon. That was a good pickup from Everton. They bring back the goalkeeper from United, and
Mm-hmm.
then nobody really out. John Joe Shelby, I saw where he moved on to Forest. Chris Wood also moved on to Forest, but they weren't getting a run, and they've identified who's their starting 11 and who's going to help them get that top four and push on,
Yeah,
fight for an EFL Cup trophy, and yeah, loan out a couple guys.
I can't believe I can't believe Forrest picked up more guys like that.
Yeah,
I don't
Forest.
know. Yeah, yeah. Not a ton. We can go. Yeah, we'll go right down to Forrest. Yeah, I'd
This
like
is
to.
their this one
What's
here,
the deal?
the keeper here from PSG, Keylor Navas,
Huge.
long time keeper of Real Madrid. Because Dean Henderson's still out with that injury. He's still out with
Okay.
an injury, so they have to bring in some keeper coverage.
How long is he out? You know?
Well, at least a more month, I believe.
Here, let's see.
So
Yeah, 'cause that's a good move. I mean, he's better. Dude, he's Keylor Navas is so good. It's ridiculous. Like the fact that he's just been.
not like Henderson good. Henderson's better. Henderson is
You think?
better. Yeah, he's younger. He's better. He's quicker. He's faster. Yeah,
Whoa.
I'd
I don't
rather
know
take
about
Dean
that.
Henderson over Keylor Navas. Sure.
Look at dude. If you look at Navas's trophy cabinet, it's ridiculous. He's so good.
What did he do at the
Uh,
World Cup? Then he give up 7 goals to Spain.
oh, please don't
Six
give
goals.
me the. He looks around at his Costa Rica back line and
Well,
he's
it's like
like,
that
"Can
with
you guys
Forrest. It's not like you have all the possession and all this. You got.
No, it
It's
is not that bad at Forest.
not that
No, it is not. It is not Costa Rica bad.
bad. All right, let's move it on here. We got Southampton. Let's see, a team that is full on struggling in the Premier League. They need to get it together. Nothing is popping out on ends, outs.
Yeah, you see
Nothing's
like
really.
Racing Club, like these are Orsic, Dynamo Zagreb, like those are quality clubs. Like the out Carlos Alcaraz, that's a guy that probably should remember his name because that's from a young Argentinian club. He's young, he's 18. That's getting back to the old Southampton
Yeah,
ways of business. Or
right.
maybe that guy in 2 years goes to United for 100 million. So something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not a ton to talk about.
Spurs.
Stealing Danjuma, that was a big move. That really freaking hurt Everton. Danjuma would have been a beauty for Everton. He might have been able to single handedly pull Everton out from the depths of hell, and Spurs go in there and snatch that shit. That was ruthless. God, you see Brian Gill back to Sevilla. That's interesting. He really hasn't cut it. Doherty released. I thought it was actually just a transfer to Atletico Madrid, so maybe they didn't get any money for Matt
That
Doherty,
was
which
the
was so.
shocker. I hear you. Yep, exactly. Thought he was going to get
What the
sold, and
hell?
then they just released him of his contract.
God, he was so good, Doherty,
At
just
Wolves.
a few seasons ago. But if
Yes.
if 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 you don't make it as a fullback under Conte, then that's a problem because Conte really does know a shit ton about
And
fullbacks.
they bring in Poro
Um,
here from
Yeah,
Sporting.
Pedro
It's
Porro.
good.
I don't know a ton about him, but I know that that's a loan to buy. That's an official. That's a done deal. Pedro Porro. I think that he's a fullback. I
Hmm.
believe. Yeah, that's
So he's
that's a
going to get
done
their
deal. But
center
thanks,
back in the summer. They didn't do anything with the center back, so they'll have to go in the transfer window this summer and get themselves a real. They want to run three, in the back. Center backs need to add a center back at some point.
Dude, I bet
So
Pedro Porro is pretty good. So
no,
just
he
you
is.
when you think about it, so they lost to Sporting. I mean, they were in the.
Yes.
Did Tottenham? Is Tottenham in?
That
Did they
was the
end up
one
getting?
where they got those two late goals. It was 0-0 in like
Yeah,
the 90th minute. Sporting gets two
yeah.
ridiculous late goals.
Did
Yes.
did Tottenham get bounced? They're in, aren't they? Round
Yeah.
of 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's the
That crazy.
man.
Yes, they
Yeah, so
were.
that's when you go snag a player that you got two really good looks at. going head to head, that's some Liverpool shit. Liverpool always do that, and generally those
Hmm.
buys are pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's big time one. Pedro Porro. Pedro Porro. West Ham here. Got a couple more. West Ham. Oh, Danny Ings. I saw where you retweeted that thing where was it Moyes on the phone and said I want some signings and it was not signings. I want
Which one?
signings.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Signings,
yeah,
not signings.
yeah.
Obviously,
No,
they
not
bring over Danny
signings.
Ings from Villa right there. They lose Craig Dawson. I actually saw this one come across when I was looking earlier. I thought that one stuck out. That's a starting member, starting 11 right there that they're sending
Yeah.
out from their defense. I mean, their defense has been terrible, but I thought that one, Craig Dawson losing him to Wolves, stuck out.
Yeah. That didn't make any sense to me. Both ways, why he's leaving and why Wolves are
Yeah,
interested in buying him. I don't get that one. It'd be very interesting to kind of dive into this Luiza or whatever from Sao Paulo.
right.
That's another one. Like, dude, these clubs, what they're going, these mid-table clubs are going in and they're diving into South America early so that they can make a profit later. Bet that kid's pretty good. Um, Ings, I wonder what that mean. The reason that I didn't understand the Ings thing was um, who's the striker from Sassuolo that they just brought in the summertime?
Oh, with the G or is it because of G or an S? It's the
Yeah, Scamacca. Scamacca.
Skamaka. Skamaka,
You
yeah.
know, does that mean that they're kind of out on Scamacca, or like what's the feeling with Scamacca? Let me look.
They never gave him a run. Remember, we keep talking about it every week on the Premier League show between the posts, where you're gonna go to preview it
Hmm.
actually here in about 5-10 minutes. They never. I feel
So
like they
he's
never gave
injured.
Skamaka like
He's
a
injured.
run.
He's injured.
Keep trusting
Oh,
that.
but
Well,
that
that's
was
been
the other
true.
thing too. Is freaking Danny Ings right when he got in,
He's
he
already
already got
injured.
injured.
Yes.
He already has got a knee injection since freaking signing for West Ham. Yeah, West Ham, you look through their injury list, they've got problems right now. Kurt Zuma, quad injury. He overstretched. That's their best defensive piece. Gianluca is fine. He's had his second PRP injection and is due to take his third to come next Wednesday. My feeling is he's
Hmm.
doing okay. Don't know what that means and like and then Maxwell Cornet, been back in France, seeing us about 3 to 4 weeks now. We're hoping to have him back on Monday. Full train. They've got some issues right now. They need to get healthy.
Yeah, they need to get help. You're being kind when you call them mid-table.
Yeah,
They're in a fight. They're in a fight. We'll preview their match coming up this here in about 10 minutes. They've got a tough game this weekend. Tough matchup this
yeah.
weekend. Let's look at the last one here. Wolves just taking them alphabetical by order. Taking them alphabetical order. And we get a Matt, I've been keeping an eye on. You've been wondering what I've been doing when I've been looking off. I know people are sitting here, they're watching us, learning about what happened in the Premier League transfer window. But they're also keeping an eye on Juventus Lazio. They get a goal in FIFA time just before halftime. And Real Madrid on the stroke of halftime. How about those people that took a goal to be scored in the first half for their parlay? Maybe you get a leg to hit in FIFA time in the 93rd minute. We'll see if VAR doesn't jump in. Let's look at this last team. Wolves. Let's see. Loan. Maybe some stuff that you're talking about. You get some guys, develop them. Maybe you flip them. Wolves are in a fight-ish for relegation, but
Mhm.
they just don't score. I don't see anything that really sticks out. They're just going to
I thought
continue to
I
not
thought
score.
Sarabia. I thought that the Sarabia buy for like 5 million from PSG was sneaky good.
Yeah, that much actually is, yeah. And then out.
Lamina, getting Lamina back. He was a guy that was on Southampton for many years. So he knows the league really well. He left to go to France for a little bit. Now he's back. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. That could be a buy. I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wolves made a couple buys because they know that probably in the summertime Wolves are going to be making a couple sales. There's a couple. You look at oh god, Nunez, right? No,
Who their midfielders? Ruben Neves.
yeah,
He's gonna go. He's gone.
Neves, Ruben
He's gone.
Neves, beauty. Yeah, I could see him going. Only
Sell
25.
finally sell Traore to somebody that'll pay you some
Yeah.
absurd amount of money, 15, 20 million. Oh, we do got VAR popping into this Real Madrid game. Although to be fair, VAR popped in for the Juventus score, and VAR couldn't change the call on Juve's goal stick. We're gonna need it for
Are
Real
you
Madrid.
holding on to some tickets?
A little parlay for it just to be 1 goal in the first half.
Yeah.
Come on, VAR, help out. Help out, VAR. Let that goal stick. Let that goal stick. All right, that's it for Wolves, though. That's it for Wolves. All right, let's hop on back to.
I don't know how it would be VAR to. Yeah. Oh my God, correction.
Oh,
Take it
VAR
off.
correction. They took it. VAR takes it
I
off.
don't understand because it was from a corner. A perfectly taken corner kick. Antonio Rudiger produces a fantastic bullet header from around the penalty. Must have been a
Must
foul.
have been a
Must have like
foul.
pushed off. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, he probably pushed off.
God, not gonna get that. This parlays are. Instead of getting a FIFA time winner, VAR comes in and takes it away from the people. Takes it away from the people. Couldn't get it. Couldn't get it. That's gonna hurt. All right, let's. So we're gonna end this stream. If you're sitting there watching the live version of this, which there are two people hanging out there watching us, this stream is gonna end, and then on the main, I guess, page of my YouTube channel, you'll either, depending on how quick you get there, it'll be another upcoming show, which is going to roll this right into between the posts and do a Premier League match week preview, or it could already say a current live show, and that's what we're doing. So, all right, we'll see you on over there, guys. Appreciate you hanging out with us, going through the Premier League and going club by club, talking about everything that came in and out. Now let's go talk about how it'll set up for this weekend in the Premier League. Talk some bets as well.